the clubs try to book popular people instead of talented people. At one time, the club used to book talented people, but now the internet has taken over. So talented people are not as important as popular people. But the popular people don't even have an act.
Bam.
Because they're not seasoned comedians. Those are the people. You go to some cities, it ain't nothing but people who got it and people who don't. And the people who don't, when they find a ways to spend their dollar, they're really hurt if you have somebody representing the comedy club who doesn't have any talent. But that person might be a person with a lot of followers on the internet.
There's a little bit of not necessarily comedy news, but you know, we watch other comedy shit. Shout outs to the 5150 Nation, 5150.
Shout out to the chat room goons.
If you're a comedy fan, then you should know the name, but you know, so not everybody. If you're a black comedy fan, for sure you should know the name. Corey Holcomb, absolute OG legend. In the comedy game, has been around for over 40 years doing this shit. Shaq Comedy All-Stars, has a set or a couple sets back in the Def Comedy Jam days. Based out of LA, has a very popular podcast called 5150. And to me personally, bro, like, I do not think there's anybody more honest about what is taking place in terms of like the higher level showbiz shit.
Yeah.
We talk about this stuff all the time. We have been for years, but we're not at that level.
No.
So for us, it's like a lot of speculation. It's a lot of, we're talking about news stories or things that happen to other celebrities and shit. Nah, Corey Holcomb is in the game, been in the game, and at every turn, he seems to be turning down opportunities because he doesn't fuck with them fruit booty niggas. If you try to make it in this game of Hollywood, your asshole is gonna have to be sacrificed. That's that nigga right there, all right? So he's giving out real information from where Bernie's from. So salutes to Bernie Mac, salutes to all the Chicago OGs other than the fruit booty niggas. No, shout outs to real comedians, and everybody else can go fucking. Corey said some shit that really resonated with me. It's shit that I've been screaming from the mountaintops on this show, but again, it doesn't have any weight when I say it because I'm just,
yeah.
Even though I'm 13 years into comedy, I'm 13 years into Canadian comedy, which is 5 minutes into show business. Mm-hmm. And even at this smaller level, even in the Canadian entertainment space, which is almost nothing, I have witnessed personally firsthand some of the things that not just Corey Holcomb has been talking about, mostly for me, and I've talked about this recently, Patrice O'Neal, listening to him be honest about how the fact that he was a curmudgeon, so obviously like that didn't help him, but he just couldn't be fake, and that all of Hollywood is fake, and it's a lot of favors and favoritism and backdoor action, if you know what I'm talking about. Backdoor is sad. And unfortunately, you know, Patrice has passed away. I feel like Corey Holcomb is carrying the mantle of honesty in the game. Being very honest about the experiences. And he's like, yo, if you're gay, why the fuck do you live in the middle of America? Take the trip and move out to LA, because this is your promised land, baby. Why are you taking it in the ass in the middle of the fucking cornfields when you could be taking it in the ass in Hollywood and be getting a fucking film gig? You know what I'm saying? So the game is to be told, not to be sold, or sold, not to be told. Fuck, I fucked it up. Whatever the fuck, nigga. Anyways, it's a free podcast, and we're gonna play a couple clips. Again, I'm playing this, but if you go back this season, last season, any of the last 5 seasons, which are all seasons of this podcast, you can hear different variations of this statement being yelled at the rooftop by myself. Which one are you playing first? Let's see here.
I hate this business has become
This one, right?
to the point where the clubs try to book popular people instead of talented people. At one time, the club used to book talented people, but now the internet has taken over. So talented people are not as important as popular people. But the popular people don't even have an act.
Bam.
Because they're not seasoned comedians. Those are the people that make people feel good about going to see them, even though they don't have a name. But now, the way the world and climate has changed, popular people are booked.
Boom. There's another clip we'll get into in a minute, but let's break that down first, because it's exactly what.
Yeah. This is what you say every other episode.
Maybe
every episode.
Bruh. I'm crying.
This is a comedy recap because the popular people.
13 years into a career, and I say this on stage, but it's like when I first started, social media was obviously a thing, but you didn't have to be a social media guru. But now to be famous, you literally have to go and bother people and film it and turn it into quote unquote content for the masses. And then the industry ends up seeing that, oh, look at this fucking, he's willing to do all the dumb shit, puts you on. Then all of a sudden you're at a Diddy party and your asshole hurts. Allegedly. I've literally had, which is, bro, this is my favorite thing. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to know who you are and what you stand for. But when I say you have to be honest with yourself, be honest about the landscape around you. And give yourself the space, the time to figure out your lane. I took years of just sidelining myself on social media. You know. Now we're active because the YouTube channel has helped me figure out, having Dante on board has helped me figure out, having White Slave, which is Luke. I can't just call him White Slave just in case it's the first time you've heard his name. Another producer on the crew. Henda, all these people around me can't. Like, how do I just had a really good fucking turnaround moment, bro. I believe in myself so fucking much, and I know that I'm honest with myself. So I know I'm not being bitter or whatever the fuck. However you want to interpret what I'm saying. Oh, this guy's angry. This guy's bitter. This guy's fucking negative. Or he's just mad because he's getting blackballed or whatever the fuck. None of that is happening to me. I'm just being honest about what I'm experiencing, and this is my platform to do so. You know what I mean? But for me to just have been featured on CBC's The National, which is a national news program in Canada, where they did a 15-minute feature on Yuck Yucks, which is the only national comedy club in Canada, where I have had conversations with the owner of that club, and he's told me, he's like, look, some of these ideas you want to execute, you need more of a following online, this and that. And I was very honest with him. I'm like, nah, man, that's not the case at all. In fact, what I ended up doing, and I took all the names and all this shit out of it because it wasn't about exposing other people. But I said, look, this is literally your number one show producer right now. Every show he does in your club, he fills. He has less than 1,000 followers personally, and the show account has a couple thousand. What you're telling me isn't fucking real. Now, yes, obviously, a person that comes to you with hundreds of thousands of followers or whatever, they'll have an easier time, most likely, theoretically, selling out a show in your place.
Yeah.
But it's just like what Corey said. Now the game is so far gone because of social media that clubs, and this isn't just exclusive to Canada, this is America especially. Yeah. All these clubs now, and I've heard it from homies that are touring in the States and all this shit. They ask you what your social media follower count is. Because they're not selling the tickets the way they used to. Because now audiences are being trained to go for mass appeal shit. The problem with that is when we're talking about comedy, most of these social media people are not, like Corey said, and I'm being polite by using what he said. They're not seasoned comedians. And I've witnessed this firsthand, been in the club with a person with a ton of followers. Yep. Alienating the crowd to the point where
I've been to a few shows. I seen it with my own eyes.
Alienating the crowd to the point where I saw that person get pulled aside by the producer and be like, yo, bro, Audiences don't come out here to be fucking
Yeah.
talked down to and yelled at and shit. If you're a comic, you know how to talk down to an audience without making them feel like you're talking down to them.
Yeah.
Because there's a finesse to that. You're not a seasoned comedian.
Yeah.
You can get there. But for the most part, bro, these social media people are tricking you into thinking you're going into a comedy show.
Yeah. One thing that Corey has said on like another show, but it relates to this, is that what ends up happening is, okay, you have this big following. So you bring out, say, 100 people to a show, but then they get a 4 out of 10 show. And now they think that's the level of comedy.
Comedy, correct.
So they're like, I'm not even going to go to
I'm not
another
going to
show.
a comedy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to comedy.
Because
it's devalued comedy like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's devalued it like crazy. On top of what comics do to devalue it themselves. But this doesn't help.
Yes.
So like that's the game now. And I feel like I feel like personally that maybe people are starting to come around on this as they're like wipe the cust off your ass to this whole social media bullshit. It's like the online stuff isn't necessarily the realest, most authentic, the best even. I think people are becoming more exposed to the reality of that.
Yeah. Because also, I think what else is happening is like, okay, people are getting more into comedy, right? And when they get more
into comedy, they'll find
better stuff.
Correct.
Right? They're not just saying the most popular, because obviously that might not be the best, but they get more, I forget what the word is, but they get more interested in the art form itself. So they go deeper and deeper and deeper.
Correct.
And then that's where they find the better talent, but they have a smaller following because they're not focusing on the following, they're focusing on the art form.
Correct.
Right? So eventually, like, some of them will get to that point, but it's not, you know, the millions, 2 millions of people that follow the mass appeal stuff.
So like this is why it's also easy to call a nigga like me a fucking dinosaur or bitter or whatever the fuck. Because if you're looking at it from a popularity standpoint, social media is a shit. I'm not a dinosaur to the point where I don't understand social media or what it or how the times have changed. Because there was always some sort of social media, even for comedy. I mean, back in the day, there was a sitcom route and all this stuff, like the late night talk show route and all this stuff. So you still had, there's always been some sort of a game, but the bar was actually set high.
Yeah.
Now there is no bar because everybody has a platform, because everybody can open up Instagram, TikTok and make an account, YouTube, make an account. It's lowest common denominator. Thank God, like we actually have some talent and people are starting to recognize that. And our channel is actually picking up. Once again, salutes to all the beautiful people that keep hitting the subscribe button. You want to be a beautiful person, just hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, hit the like button, help us fight Mr. Algorithm. We're giving you good content all the damn time, all week long for free. Play that other Corey clip, please. And before we get to it, like there was even another thing Corey said, which we talked about on the podcast. He's like, unfortunately, it was when Rizza Islam was on the show. See,
Okay.
Unfortunately, Rizza, I'm a comedian. You mean fortunately, Corey? He's like, no, unfortunately. It's because all over the country now, garbage ass comedians is selling their shows to the people like, hey, y'all, we're about to rock the house. They don't want to tell you that we got a mild version of a comedy show that we want you to check out. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
They won't be honest and be like, look, my skill, I figured out online. Some of y'all figured out online sketches. Some of y'all figured out online content. Some of y'all literally just copy pasting. You know, there's varying degrees to I figured out this online shit. But stand-up comedy is its own thing.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get there doing one show a month, one show a week. Like put the actual fucking hours in and treat it like the art form that it is. It's not social media.
Yeah.
It's very much not, but you know, the masses will have you thinking it is. Anyways, let's play this other Corey clip.
When you go to some cities, it ain't nothing but people who got it and people who don't. And the people who don't, when they find a ways to spend their dollar, they're really hurt if you have somebody representing the comedy club who doesn't have any talent. But that person might be a person with a lot of followers on the internet. So that's what you got to look out for. I'm talking to the consumers, the ones that aren't funny. You'll find out they're not funny if you do a little research. And the unfunny one's going to be mad at me, but I don't care.
Bingo. And the unfunny ones would be the ones that would be like, he's bitter and he's da 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 da. It's like, bro, if you're really in this game, then nothing I'm saying is earth shattering or affects you negatively, and you don't take it personally.
Yeah.
But weak niggas that aren't really about this shit will take this shit personally. And that's who gives a fuck, nigga. Like I'm about comedy, and I'm gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. Like we tribed up, nigga. High tide raises all ships. So I found my tribe, bro. Like my peoples is locked into a vision and doing all the extracurricular activities, all the metaphysical shit, all the meditations, all like the entire thought process. No fruit booty shit. Keep the fruit booty on that side. God. Anyway, salutes to Corey Holcomb, 5150 Nation. Shout outs to D and God.
Craig Facts.
Yeah, Craig Facts. Thank you. I'm the weed is wearing off. Yeah, that's comedy talk for this week.
This is Black Zeus, the podcast season 5.
I love y'all. Thank you for supporting. Once again, the Patreon is launched. If you do want to watch my comedy special right now, you can do so. It's only $10, and you can get it as part of the subscription fee. So, like, if you subscribe to the Patreon, you can get it that way, or you can just buy it outright for $10 that way. Once again, for transparency, I will release the comedy special for free on the YouTube once we hit 1,000 subscribers. So you can also just hit the subscriber button and just do that. You can support that way, whichever way you want to support. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all that. I don't necessarily use it the way everybody else does, but I'm there if you want to find me. AKA Black Zeus is the person to find on those platforms.